So in this case study, we're going to talk about a company that had a current TEM company or Telecom Expense Management company managing their expenses. They thought that everything was going well, but they still were not saving the money that they needed to save. So this particular client was or is a quick service restaurant, meaning a fast food restaurant. They have over 240 locations nationwide, thousands of employees that are working for them on a daily basis. So they had a current telecom expense management company processing their bills and what they thought was auditing their bills on a monthly basis and identifying errors. So what they didn't realize was that the errors that were being identified were not being recovered for them. And then there were a lot of errors that were not actually identified. So their first issue was they didn't have the personnel to be able to do this work, to call the vendor to recover errors that were on the bills. So they didn't have the personnel, and they really needed to save money because in a quick service restaurant, the profit margins are so small that they really need to operate in a streamlined manner. When we initially started working for them, we noticed a lot of the errors on the invoices when we started setting them up in our system to start the processing on a monthly basis. So processing those invoices for payment and then also auditing them. So in our system, we were able to set the limits, which just means that we were able to set for each phone number, each DSL, each meter number, a specific amount that that particular meter number or phone number is supposed to bill on a monthly basis. And this would also set at basically a contract rate as well. So some of their services were under contracts. For example, their internet was, $29.99 a month. That's all they were supposed to be spending. During the first month of setting those limits, processing those invoices, we were able to identify the overcharges for either contract rates or the rates or the limits that were set for various services. So on the ones that were where the vendor was overcharging or charging for something that they were not supposed to be charging for, we were able to go back to the vendor to get those refunds, totally giving the client the reporting on a weekly basis to show them this is what we're going back to the vendor for to get those refunds. You guys don't have to do anything. We're going to handle this. And then reconciling that on the invoice to show that the following month, the credit was received, this was cleaned up. So then at that point, showing them that your cost avoiding, $10 for this site, you're not paying that any longer, and we got you this credit back. Then there were other areas that we were able to assist with that previously that they hadn't even thought of. One of the biggest issues they were having was directory assistance, having that connection fee for directory assistance. And the managers had no idea because they had no visibility into the reporting. So when we were able to show them that they were spending $50 at their site every month for the employees picking up the phone, using directory assistance and having that call connected at 75 cents per incident, the managers were able to instruct their employees, do not use directory assistance. With that, we were able to give them a reporting tool that not only just for the errors that we identified on the bill, but also for avoiding costs that could be avoided just by giving training and better instruction to their staff to no longer do that or use that service or download those types of services. What they initially thought we were coming in to help them for was to save them money so that they could increase their profit margins. But as we looked through this, we were able to save them from the previous company not going after the refunds. They were showing some of the errors that were on the bills, but they were not going after them. And of course, the client didn't have the personnel in their accounts payable or their telecom or facilities department to actually go after those refunds, reconcile them with the vendors. And so what they thought we were coming in for streamlining, we were able to actually not only streamline, but to find them money that they didn't know that was out there. during the first 12 months, their ROI was over 300% for what they were paying us, what we were avoiding for them, and the refunds we were able to achieve.